The digital world moves fast, but real growth comes from real conversations. This is e-Coffee with Experts, where marketers and founders share what's actually working in SEO, AI, and digital growth. Grab your coffee and fuel your mind as we chat with top minds about their wins, struggles, and lessons you won't find in a blog post. Brought to you by Digital Web Solutions, we bring real talk to help you grow your business, one episode at a time. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the episode, and I'm super excited to have you guys here with us today because I invited Georgia Tan, international speaker, agency owner, boss girl. Let's just stop there. So Georgia, I'm super happy you're here. I met you last year at SEO Estonia as well as Chiang Mai SEO, and today you're here at the e-Coffee with Experts. So welcome.
Hi, Annie. Yeah, it's exciting to be here. Really happy to finally make it on your podcast.
Amazing. I just want to highlight, you've been doing so much for the community. I follow you on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I see that you're bringing more women together in the community, which I personally appreciate so much because we need more inclusivity and encouragement among other female professionals in marketing, especially digital marketing. So, yep, just really stoked.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have started the Women in SEO and digital marketing community about a year ago now. I started it in Sydney, Australia, and then been really lucky to then sort of guest host it when I go to different international SEO conferences and get to go to ones together with you as well last time in Chiang Mai, and fingers crossed, hoping to do something a little more for Chiang Mai with this community this year.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Let's dive into SEO. I know SEO is your specialty as well as web design. And so we're just going to dive into those two because often SEOs neglect UX UI, and the UX UI designers have no idea what SEO is. Some you and your company, SwitchKey Digital, have found this great balance. Could you give us a brief overview? Why is that such a disconnect between SEOs and UX UI designers?
That's a great question. I think that traditionally, I guess SEOs, we've always been looking at the traffic, the keyword rankings, off page, the backlinks, and may not necessarily have had the ownership to do the development side, and would have to sort of pass on to the development team or the design team. I think now we're really lucky that I guess the focus on user experience and user engagement being such a big ranking factor, like for Google, for brand, that SEO has sort of moved away from just being the keywords, the backlinks, to really be thinking about everything that's going on, from when you're looking at the SERPs to then once you get onto the landing page, for your brand website. So in terms of why there's a disconnect, I guess traditionally it's just been more siloed. Like SEOs, your job is just the keywords and then you pass it on. But yeah, we've really seen having our in-house developers and designers who are also SEO educated, and vice versa, SEOs who understand how we can incorporate some of the user research, user design principles into the SEO work we do. It really helps the team work together a lot more closely as one process, rather than you do my part and pass it on and then we can't implement as much as we would like.
Yeah. Do you have some sort of training for designers on SEO? Is this part of your recruitment process? Hey, you're a designer, but do you know the fundamentals of search engine optimization?
I mean, I think it's great if the designers can come in with some prior SEO knowledge. That may not always be the case. So, I mean, I think the way we talk about it, we actually we don't really label as you're the SEO, you're the writer. More we're looking at the data side, which could be organic data, it could be paid, it could be general analytics. Then we also have our marketing and content team, who then would be trained in understanding how to do SEO writing, but also really thinking about the user engagement of the content. So I think it's sort of that shift in mindset from do you know SEO or do you not, to being it's just one thing that you have to do, it's part of being a holistic marketer or website designer as well. Yeah.
Often when your clients come to you, do they mostly focus on the design, or do they also need a lot of help in SEO? Like how is the work divided for you guys?
I think we see different journeys, I'd say. Like, I think you definitely get different personas. Like, some people come in and they're like, yeah, I need SEO. I need those conversions. Other people might be more concerned about the conversion rate from a design perspective first. But I see it as essentially you start with one, but then you realize that you need the other. And then that's the opportunity to actually eventually get the client to bring that together. And it's so much easier when the team is like actually talking to each other and working on the one effort rather than, I don't know, like having a couple of agencies do bits and pieces and then have the client still need to work with all of them separately, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. One of the awesome tips I got from your workshop at Chiang Mai SEO was that how you keep the content fresh, because one of the key things you were talking about is consensus and like how to add fresh ideas to content at the same time. I think it's a kind of a nerdy question, but how do you make sure that your content kind of resonates with what Google agrees to as a source of truth, but also adding new information to the content so that it helps with the user engagement as well as clicks and scrolling time?
It sounds like from the question, it's sort of like, how can we still make sure that, we have that consensus content, which, we still need to a certain extent to show that you're covering what like the top ranking pages are covering. So for that, I would not like all SEO tactics are suddenly dead. We can still look at how we would do on-page SEO to look at important like terms, related topic that we have to at least hit. But I think that's a step that a lot of people know how to do and would definitely do, but then kind of do it too similar. Now, with AI generated content, starts to sound even more similar, which is not going to be great for engagement at all. The next step for that is really with the information gain or the unique content, getting the insights from the client, from the brand, because that's like the unique source of truth. So I always would recommend to like get your client to fill out like a more detailed survey when you're first starting, or even when you're refreshing the strategy every quarter, every 6 months, and to really understand the USPs, which sounds really simple, but if you can really get it down, you can feed that through like everything you do. Whether it's like a long form article, DM, even with like the style of images or infographics. So I would get as much detail as you can about, what makes my brand stand out. What are the key things you would say to a potential customer to walk them through the process of wanting to go with your product or service. I'd get any proprietary data that the brand has. It could be from customer feedback, could be from sales team on the phone, collect all of that, which I sort of talked about in Chiang Mai, into a repository. So you have as much as possible. And then a really great thing is once you have that, you can start to sort of like, if we are using AI, you can still then bring that unique data set, I guess, to your whichever AI you're using. And that's going to give a much better and tailored output. They'll learn everything about the brand to get the unique content. And then at the end of the day, I think still having the expert editing and review to give feedback on like what's not quite right will help to bring that, make sure you're hitting what was intended to say.
I tried to do this recently with my company by creating a custom chatbot while I feed all the unique data and like some unique company procedures, for example, like how to approve this, how to approve that, or like what this type of scenario into a GPT bot. I found that ChatGPT was a easy way to set it up, but do you have like other recommendations on AI tools or like other methods to keep all these unique data in place for your agency members?
So I'd say for me, I think Gemini is pretty underrated. I feel like it can be a lot easier to prompt and a little bit more creative. Like I feel like it gets the brand and like tone of voice a lot easier. So maybe my easy tip would be exploring the prompting with Gemini or with other AI tools and see what works better. I feel like people can get kind of turned off just using ChatGPT all the time and feel like it's not really working as well. Another tip, now Google's also rolled out like I think it's called like NotebookLM, where you can you can feed all that repository into one place, and then it's still using Gemini to learn everything about the brand, and you can put in all kinds of files and data.
That's true. I really like NotebookLM specifically for meeting summaries or action items, but also like we run a lot of podcasts, of course, but you can easily take a podcast transcript and either chop it off to like social media content or anything. Like it learns from the data you provide, which is really great and super user friendly. So NotebookLM is definitely has been like super helpful for me in the past 2 weeks. It can also create like mind maps and stuff. I think that's quite cool.
Awesome.
For learning. Yeah. And lately, what are the things that you've been paying attention to as a marketer, especially in UX and UI design as well as SEO, that moves the needle? Or is it the same old? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to go down it depends too much,
Yeah.
but I'll say like often, I mean, I think clients can be sort of chasing like, like the shiny new object syndrome, and that could mean really looking at how do we optimize for AI search, or how can I incorporate like AI transcript on my website, or like, more like fancy stuff. I think that maybe a main trend, which is still going back to basics, I guess, would be like sometimes it is still like it could still be the CMS or the theme that you're on that could be causing a lot of problems. Often we find that to really improve the design and then engagement of pages, sometimes you have to go right back to the branding. Could be the logo, reassessing even the color palette, consistency in design. Those things I think sometimes like SEOs might overlook or think like, it's already been done once, we can't do anything about it. But I guess, the tip would be like, if you can, those things can make such a huge difference later on when you improve one landing page, when you then roll it out to a whole template in engagement. What are some other things? I mean, maybe just like a small thing we've seen, like, I guess don't underestimate the hero section of the page. I think sometimes, as SEOs, we're so focused on like having all the content on the page, making sure we've covered everything. They might underestimate, like even just on a landing page, really optimizing for conversions, the hero section. We've seen such a huge uplift from even just simple changes, like I guess from stock images or different AI generated images to something of like a real person or like real faces of the company.
Yeah. I think that's also very underrated, right? Like, I don't think a lot of SEOs are actually thinking about those things, but they get caught up with the data that they see from Search Console or like Ahrefs or SEMrush. And like I think as an SEO, when I used to look at these data, I would forget that there are existing pages on the website, that maybe I'm leaving a lot of opportunities there because I'm keep chasing for new content ideas, which was already like new investment because the content have to be created and stuff. My next question is more outside of content and design, but more about like backlinks. What's your opinion on backlinks in this AI answer world? Do you think they're
I still think that quality and relevant backlinks still very important. Backlinks and off-page SEO, there's still a huge ranking factor for search engine. So I definitely say to continue doing that as part of your overall like SEO and authority building strategy. I think definitely seeing that some backlink strategies are not going to continue working as well in 2025, but going back to focusing on like more quality links, niche traffic, text relevance, all still really helpful. Having a natural mix and encouraging clients to see how they can go toward like more earned links in terms of like creating like, it could be like a thought leadership piece or data analysis, It could be digital PR. If the client is invested enough, I think those things will really show like you're building like a true brand. At the end of the day, I'd say, link building is sort of an extension of the brand building and relationship building for the internet. In terms of AI overviews, I mean, it's great that there's the attribution now with the link. I definitely think that as, AI gets smarter, it will get to a point where mention in AI engines on the internet will get more and more picked up. And yeah, it doesn't have to be just a backlink, but actually getting your brand mentioned across the web will then really help you to surface in AI generated places.
Yeah. It's funny because whenever I mention my business, which is, we do link building, digital PR, SEO, we were recently at a conference in an iGaming conference, but it was not targeted to marketers. So it was an interesting mix of people. So I had to introduce myself, and then I said, I do SEO and link building. And they're like, uh-huh. When you pretend that you don't know what the person is saying, but you really don't know what they're saying. So I had to switch to the point where so what I do kind of helps your brand being on AI. And all of a sudden people just click because, again, people always look for everyday ways to resonate. And because everyone uses ChatGPT nowadays, they get to understand when I search for a problem, now I 50-50 or 80-20, I go to ChatGPT to ask this question. So yeah, I found it's easier to start a conversation when I start with the AI overviews rather than why link building is important for SEO or what SEO is actually. So yeah, I don't know, that was an interesting thing I learned. What is the easiest way to introduce yourself for an everyday person?
Yeah, I think introducing ourselves as SEOs will never be an easy way, but no, that's really cool that actually, I guess, being in AI engines and ChatGPT is so front of mind at the moment.
Front of mind. Oh, what a great word, actually. Front of mind. Yes, front of mind. Because back then, I think with SEO, they need to explain what SEO is to other professionals who are not marketers, maybe. They just say I help you be on Google. And that's the end of the conversation. And people be like, how do I do that? Let me give you money. So yeah. But how do you convince other companies though when they don't believe in SEO? Do you have that type of conversation? You just okay, that's not my lead. I'll move on.
Yeah, I'd say it's lead that think they don't believe in SEO is probably not going to be a good lead because they're going to need a lot of education and buy-in. But I guess a great way to turn that around is every business should be working towards having more of a digital presence, and they're looking for the visibility and customers. So being able to just speak in terms of the results, be able to get you more consultations, more booking calls that will resonate with even SEO skeptics. They see that coming in.
In your process, we talked a lot about content, but I think it's quite important. So how much do you use AI to write the actual content? Let's just not even think about the content brief, but do you use or recommend people using AI to fill out the paragraphs, or do you still rely on actual writers to do that?
I definitely encourage to use AI tools to do the first draft. I think every month, every quarter, these AI tools are getting even more sophisticated and I think much smarter than the average person in most things. So I'd say spend more time sort of teaching your AI and building good prompts, and I guess training content writers who still need to exist and have jobs still, how to use AI to just speed up your process, work smarter, I guess. We still need the humans to edit it and make sure, the tone is right. But I would definitely encourage using AI to start the skeleton, to do the first draft, but it's sort of more the iteration and building out ongoing prompts. I think that's the challenging part, because it's not going to be a one click and the article's done, or if someone did that, it'd probably be lower quality or may not resonate with the target audience.
Yeah, amazing. My last question is more about you, Georgia. So I don't know how you do it. So I'd like to ask you, how do you balance traveling, running a business, having a life, and still organizing a wedding at once and still looking great? How do you do that? Let's just talk about the real.
I ask myself that every day. So I mean, not gonna lie, I think last month was probably the most hectic month ever. Yeah, we were in Europe for the conference. We hosted the IWD event here in Sydney. There were different speaking things. Agency was growing. I think for me, like I've just been really excited to work on all these initiatives, to get to meet different people. Really excited for the growth. So that's what put me along. I couldn't do it without my co-founder and partner, and like having like this really supportive team as well. So I think this advice probably is not going to work for everyone. I guess the main thing would be like if you're passionate about it, go for it, and you're going to be a lot more motivated. You will find more energy that you didn't know you had. And then at the same time, yeah, you can't be doing that much forever. So definitely make it sustainable for you.
Yeah.
Find the balance.
That's amazing. It's a great takeaway that, like, what I hear is that all the initiatives comes from an internal motivation that you have. So that kind of fuels you to keep going and also helps you to keep it like sustainable, as you said. Like, it's easy to run a sprint, but then we get burned out. And to avoid that, always do things with intention and like kind of, yeah, you see where all these motivation come from. Because I think most people get into a trap like I should be doing this because of X, and usually that X is like some sort of external motivation that they don't want to do by themselves. So I think that's very inspiring, and all the extra events you and communities you're building, that's so helpful for the community, and we are also thankful for it.
Yeah, really, really helpful really, really grateful to have been able to grow the community and connect with, yeah, like yourself and everyone that you've gotten to know more. Yeah, I mean, I definitely say it's everything. I think starts with mindset and yeah, like coming from yourself. I also say it's difficult, but sort of like comparison is a thief of joy, and the only person anyone is really competing with whether you're like a freelancer or 7-figure agency owner or entrepreneur, whatever it is, I think just like focusing on your own goals, like you're the only competition.
Exactly. I think that's a beautiful message to end the episode with. So remember, guys, it's you versus you. All
Thanks,
right.
Annie.
Thank you so much for joining the show. And guys, I will link Georgia's links in the description below. So check it out and yeah, follow her on LinkedIn.